All right, in today's video, I'm going to walk you through the pros and cons of Google Ads, generally what's good about it, what's bad about it, and whether or not you should really be using it, depending on your situation. So to start it off, we'll go over the pros. The first thing is really quick lead generation, and I struggle to find any other advertising platform that can generate leads as quickly as Google Ads. You could find social media platforms like, let's say, Facebook advertising. They can generate leads very quickly as well. However, you struggle to find the actual high quality leads from Facebook and the other social media platforms just because people on those platforms generally aren't in the same frame of mind when it comes to buying things as they are on Google. So quick lead generation is definitely a plus. Really, no other advertising generates leads as quickly as Google Ads. You can realistically have leads coming in maybe the day or a couple days after you start a campaign. It's very quick, and it's one of the best things about Google Ads. The second thing is high quality leads, people who are ready to buy. And I don't say this for every single campaign because if you set it up improperly, you're not going to see high quality leads. And it really depends on your keywords and your account setup for how high quality your leads are going to be. Generally, we like to go after super high buying intent keywords. So imagine if you're doing a HVAC company in your campaign, you have keywords that include like HVAC repair near me, HVAC companies near me, broken furnace, stuff that really shows high buying intent and something that indicates that the user on Google is looking to look for your service as opposed to just like hemming and hawing. Like if you go with a lower buying intent keyword, let's say HVAC tips and tricks, HVAC DIY, and I know this sounds stupid, but if you target broad match a lot, you'll pop up for keywords like this if you don't have good negatives. You'll just waste a whole bunch of money and it really won't be worth it for your campaign. The next thing is consistency. So Google Ads, depending on if your business is seasonal or not, and even if it is seasonal, you could still have pretty consistent leads coming in. Maybe it'll slow down in certain months, and then it'll pick up back up in other ones. But if your business isn't seasonal, you should see consistent leads month after month. And yeah, there should be like a little bit of a plus or minus, like a few leads here and there. You might be up a little bit in one month and down another month, but generally you're going to see consistency overall again and again and again, high quality leads every single month, month after month, year after year. It's very good at bringing in leads quickly, high quality, and consistently year round. It is a fantastic platform, and I struggle to find any other platform or advertising method that really matches it in terms of that. Uh, Another thing is it's easily understandable. So when you do a Google Ads campaign, you need to know your numbers. And if you don't, you're going to lose a lot of money. Or, you won't know what you're doing, and going in blind is generally not a good idea. So one of the nice things about Google Ads, it lays everything out for you. You can edit columns, you can look at your conversion rate, your click-through rate, your quality score, your landing page experience. Everything is easily understandable if you understand what those numbers mean. If you don't, you're going to have a tough time, but everything is laid out flat. It's very, very easy to understand. If you compare it to a lot of other advertising platforms, they're not as easy as Google Ads, especially if you go into like more like direct mail, newspaper advertising, magazines, stuff like this. You really don't get feedback on. They may have like numbers that they've done in the past, but you don't really see how your people you've been advertising to really respond to that unless you're keeping very, very close track of it using like third party tracking. If you don't do that, then you have no idea. But Google Ads is very easy to understand. It gives you all the data really easily in your account so you can access it to see whether your account is successful or not. Another thing that is awesome about Google Ads is it allows you to refine your offer and service very quickly. So with other advertising platforms, say you're sending out a direct mail package, you're doing, 10,000 pieces of direct mail, you won't know if your offer hit or not until you get calls coming in from that or, email inquiries coming back from that. With Google Ads, you can figure that out very quickly. Like with a few hundred impressions, you know whether or not an ad is winning or it's going to be successful in the long run. Um, with other methods, you're really guessing and you have to really take a lot of time to do it. With Google Ads, you could know the next day of, and you'll be able to refine your offer and service. Maybe your ad you could figure out really quickly whether or not it's going to work. Your landing page might take a little bit more time to figure out if your offer is sticking. But in terms of getting feedback almost immediately, I don't know of any other advertising platform that allows you to really change your offer and pick a winner as opposed to all the losers out there, and really allow your customer to get what they want out of your service. So that's a wonderful thing with Google Ads. It allows you to refine your offer very quickly. Another thing is with Google Ads, unless it's like super sensitive content, so or you're trying to really manipulate the key ad copy or keywords or something, like really weird, it lets you have full control of your offering. So you can really put anything up on Google, and they're not really going to censor it whatsoever, provided it's not, a super sensitive topic like drugs or anything like that. You have free reign of to do whatever you want with it. Whereas with magazines and newspapers, and even direct mail, you have limits to what you can do. Like with magazines, maybe they don't want that type of advertising. Maybe it's, you don't have a certain amount of size you can put. Like with your landing page, you can put anything. You can extend the page as long as you want. You can do whatever you want, right? And Google won't say anything about it. So that's another awesome thing about Google. And it's another real pro that you can it allows you to really refine your offer and really connect with your customer as opposed to other advertising platforms that may not connect as well. The final thing is it allows you to generate referrals. And what a lot of business owners don't understand, especially early on in most businesses, is the importance of referrals. And they may see advertising as very expensive, and Google Ads can be very expensive compared to other advertising means. But with Google Ads, it allows you to generate referrals. And when you generate referrals, these are essentially at no cost to you. So, yeah, it may cost you a few $1,000s a month to get, like, let's say 20 or 30 or 40 leads, but then off of those leads, how many leads does it take you to generate, or how many customers sold does it take you to generate a referral, which is essentially free of charge, right? So you have to add all this into account. And of course, other advertising platforms also allow you to generate referrals, but Google Ads allows you to generate quick, high quality, consistent leads month over month. And with that, you're going to generate some referrals that are going to be consistent. So you have to take that into account when factoring in how profitable you're going to be. I know a lot of companies that they'll lose money on their first sale just so they can have the access to more referrals. Larger companies also do this as well. If you think of Walmart, this is a different example, but the in Walmart in the States, they'll actually have like they'll lose money on their inventory right at the front of the store. So say pre-cooked chicken in the containers, you'll see them in the front of like grocery stores and stuff like that. They'll actually lose money on that just to get you into the store because they know you're going to buy other stuff and they're going to make money on that. So generating referrals is an awesome thing, and it's a big pro of Google Ads. Now for the con. So the biggest thing I see with Google Ads is it's expensive, and it absolutely is if you're doing it. Even if you're doing it correctly, it can still be expensive. And that's why it's important to know your numbers and whether or not you're going to be profitable. And I can't overstate that enough. You need to know your numbers. If you don't, you're going to have a real tough time. One, either explaining to yourself, why did I just spend all this money, or explaining to someone else why you just spent all their money and didn't see any results. So, yes, it can be expensive per lead, but it really depends too on the market you're going after. Is it a super competitive market? If yes, then chances are it's going to be expensive. If it's not, you can get fantastic results with like a minimal budget, like even $1,500 a month. You can see 30 or 40 leads without much of a headache. So yeah, it can be expensive, but it can also be relatively reasonable too. Another thing is Google Ads generally has a minimum threshold. So what I mean by this is realistically, if you don't hit, at least in service-based businesses, $1,000 a month in ad spend, I'd recommend not using Google Ads, just because you're not going to be able to optimize the account. You're not going to see, results quickly, and it's going to be a real pain in the butt for you because there's just no real way you can optimize the account quickly without a lot of or a decent amount of ad spend. So at least like $1,000 a month. I'd say anywhere between 1,000 and 3,000 bucks for most of our clientele. That allows us to optimize the account. That allows us to see data coming in, and for them to actually start seeing results with like leads and new customers coming in. If you do anything below that, chances are, and that's why I say threshold. If you do anything below that threshold, I recommend just not going with Google Ads. Do something else. Maybe, newspaper ads, direct mail, even posters putting around the city or wherever you're at. Those can all be very effective as well. Another thing is results are not instant. And a lot of people say, well, Google Ads is instantaneously, and it's not. Sometimes it takes a few days to really start going, and you might see one or two leads coming in the first week, and then it start to optimize overall. And generally, it takes anywhere from 30 to 90 days to really optimize the account. The optimization process is always ongoing. So even in month 8, 9, 10, you're still optimizing the account and it's still getting better. But what people automatically think is, well, it's instantaneously because I'm paying per lead. And it's like, yeah, you can get leads very quickly, but it still does take some time. Another thing is it does take time to set up. So you really can't just set up the account within like 20 minutes and have it producing leads. You really need to do your homework when it comes to keywords, when it comes to doing the landing page correctly, making sure all the tracking's set up, building out your ad groups. All of these things take time. So if it takes you a day or two to set up the account, that's normal. But again, not instantaneous. So that's another thing I come back to. It does take some time to set up. It's not instantaneous. If you don't know what you're doing, the next thing here is you can lose a substantial amount of money if, like I said, if you don't know what you're doing. I see this time and time again where people will just essentially put a whole bunch of keywords into an ad group and pray it works. And most of the time it doesn't, and they end up losing a lot of money. So if you don't know what you're doing, I say either hire someone who does know what they're doing, like me, or take the time to learn about it. Take a course. We have awesome setups, even tutorials on our page on how to set up, a call only account, a normal account. We have a pool installation set up too, which is it just runs you through on how you should set everything up and basically how you should build an ad group just to start off with. But that being said, you also have to factor in tracking. You have to also factor in landing page setup and then going over the account and optimizing it. And if you don't get those things down pat, you're gonna have a real issue. You're gonna waste a lot of money. The next thing is when you compare it to other advertising platforms, it's generally not as profitable as like SEO. There's a lot of, even if you did Facebook ads well, like you had a lead funnel and you were like taking in like email subscriptions, so you essentially had people signing up, that could be more profitable than Google ads in the long run. The issue is the term long run. So how long do you want to wait for leads to come in? If it's SEO, this could take anywhere from 6 to 12 months, even longer, depending on your market you're going after. Same with Facebook ads. It might take a long time for you to start seeing real results. And that is the trade-off. Generally, you pay more with Google Ads, but you see results quicker. SEO tends to be cheaper, but you're going to see a much longer wait in order for leads to start coming in. And one other thing about Google Ads is it is an advertising platform like most. You need to know how to sell. And if you don't know how to sell, I would say don't go with Google Ads because at the end of the day, you still have to be able to sell. No matter how high quality a lead is, you have to give them reasons to buy from you instead of your competition. And if you don't do that, they're going to go with someone else because the other person will give them reasons to go with them. So if you don't know how to sell, Google Ads is not going to be the best platform for you. I'd recommend going with maybe SEO. Those people tend to already be invested because they've seen your stuff, they know what you're about, and it's really just taking an order at that point. They're not really, you don't really got to sell them all that much. So hopefully this list goes over most of the pros and cons. If I missed anything, leave them down in the comment section down below. I'd like to hear from you and your thoughts on it. But that is a very, very good overview of the pros and cons of Google Ads. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, leave them down in the comment section down below. I'd be happy to answer them. Other than that, you guys have a wonderful day and take care.